All right, we're going to continue on now with lesson 2, and we're not going to really look at a whole lot of history, but we do need to understand how we became coaches as we know ourselves to be today by looking at how coaching has evolved historically. And let's look at the roots of the word. The notion of coaching isn't new, but the word itself goes way back to the times of when it was referred to as an early version of transport, like a wagon. And this surfaced in Europe during the 16th century, but by the 1800s, the word coach came to mean a tutor or someone who carries a student through a course of study toward an exam. Later still, coaching became intricately linked to athletics and sports. Though the term still conjures up images of gymnastics or football coaches, sports coaching is only a small piece of the historical background of coaching. Early coaching texts presented the field as something totally new, and they made little reference to the literature and the more traditional professions that we casually call now helpers. So in our perspective, coaching is strongly rooted in the lineage of the word and the helping professions that are really showing an entirely new practice disconnected from the past of either what it once meant as a form of transport or it being aligned with coaching for athletics or sports. Founders from the field of coaching didn't just theorize about what people needed, but instead, coaching came into prominence because it filled a gap. It embraced the evolution of our modern lifestyles, and it framed ways of helping that fully responded to client needs for what we call forward movement. Present-day coaching is no longer considered devoid of theoretical influences or viewed as simply relying on common sense. Its knowledge base includes a lot of different arenas of professional endeavors that constitute essential roots of the profession. In addition to studies of psychology and adult learning, these arenas include philosophy, social work, management, motivation, communications, human relations, spirituality, and a whole host of hybrid disciplines. As the umbrella organization for coaches and coaching schools, the International Coach Federation came into existence in 1995, so it's fairly recent. The ICF estimates the number of coaches worldwide to be about 48,000, but there's also an untold number of unaffiliated coaches who may or may not have formal training and who have not been identified in surveys of the field. The coaching profession continues to grow exponentially with innovative methods that are practiced worldwide. And we might question why the coaching field has expanded so significantly, so quickly. And the answer may lie partly in the fact that coaching professionals have adapted really quickly to the shifts in modern life. Though the frameworks of traditional helping professions often influence coaching, coaches are not as hampered by ingrained practices and strong traditions. Coaching has taken the best of its roots and coupled them with modern communication strategies and tools and worked hard to prove its worth. Coaches listen carefully to what clients said that they needed and then align methodologies with the structures of emerging lifestyles and work patterns. They realized that the rules were changing, so much so that nothing seemed certain for long. So 9-to-5 jobs and lifelong employment with one organization was no longer the norm, nor was the family best characterized by the structure of a working father, a stay-at-home mother, and children. Globalization then became the framework, and the world became our practice field as coaches. There are probably as many different definitions of coaching as there are authors who are currently writing about the topic. And yet, as a rule, however, coaching distinguishes itself from its root disciplines by its focus on the future rather than having one on an analysis of the past. Coaching is unique in that it has an unwavering or unstopping commitment to forwarding the action for clients. And coaches will work coactively with individuals or groups to help them create desired outcomes and set achievable goals as to improve performance or to navigate through change in a positive or rewarding manner. Distinguishing characteristics of coaching models that seem generic to all schools of coaching typically used for learning include the aspects of coaching seen before you. So even though not all coaches hold credentials, certified professional coaches have typically received coach-specific training from reputable institutions, and they have engaged with mentor coaches to enhance their skills, and they also have accumulated a considerable number of hours with clients to obtain certification in general practice. They might open their doors to whatever business and life issues clients want to address. However, they must then assess whether the issue is appropriate for coaching and whether they see a good fit between their own skill set and the client's goals or agendas. Moreover, coaches must determine whether a client is coachable, and that means that whether the client has the motivation and commitment to reliably sustain action until the objective or goal has been reached. The hallmarks or cornerstones of coaching are and always will be goal setting, action planning, and accountability. However, coaching represents far more than just these straightforward processes, and the best coaches are seen to be highly creative, nonlinear thinkers. Helping clients move forward often requires novel thinking, innovative processes, and a unique reframing of your client's issues that can unblock where they might be stuck. Now, on occasion, the most effective path to a goal for your client might look like retreating or sidestepping, or like the client or coach are doing nothing. However, discovery or uncovering the right thing to do at the right time under the right circumstances represents the genius and creativity of coaching. Coaching clients would include largely adult populations or those who are 25 or older, with the majority or 65% being 46 and under. Clients deal with a wide range of challenges and opportunities. According to the 2012 ICF Global Coaching Study, the main areas addressed by coaches encompass personal growth at 38%, interpersonal relationships at 32%, self-esteem at 28%, communication skills at 26%, and a balance between work and life at about 25%. Clients essentially are people who simply want to improve their performance and enhance their well-being. Though coaching might be therapeutic and derived from some traditional approaches to helping, it is neither therapy nor counseling. Throughout most of the 20th century, needing help or consulting with a therapist was sometimes thought to indicate an inherent weakness. Today, we're far less likely to stigmatize requests for this sort of normal human situation, and so it's okay to seek counseling or therapy or to not know or lack expertise in something, and to furthermore acknowledge the wisdom of getting help when we're overwhelmed. Yet, in the world of health and wellness, we might still need guidance and support with physical activity to successfully make some changes with our client. As professionals, we need to be concerned about so much more than when an out-of-shape client will exercise, or when people who want to lose weight randomly embark on a new diet because it's advocated on the internet. Likewise, we are likely to appreciate that expecting people to change simply because they know they should is not really very realistic. For the most part, professionals acknowledge that there is a process to overcoming old habits and that the path of change is not always straightforward or best pursued in a solitary fashion. At one point in the late 70s or early 80s, some considered to be pioneers in the field of personal training were exposed to clients who had been stuck where they were for years, but still were able to progress forward through their relationships with their trainer. A pretty serious dilemma arose when clients began to generalize the trainer's expertise and helpfulness to other parts of their lives, however. So clients not only relied on their trainers to get fit and lose weight or train regularly, they also wanted to broaden their conversations to include advice on business, relationships, nutrition, and their lifestyle. During the time, journalists were either promoting or demonizing the helpfulness of this first wave of personal trainers. But no matter what the type of press that was out there, the more critical dynamic from the early days of the personal training profession concerns its methodology and the expertise of action planning and goal setting that closely approximated what we now see in use in the field of coaching. So perhaps you're currently working as a personal trainer, or your expertise might be in other areas of health like nutrition, bodywork, healthcare, or even stress management. But to be an effective coach in today's world means that you have to embark on a steep learning curve whereby you efficiently sort through your past approaches to helping relationships and extract what's relevant, and then integrate this knowledge with the emerging awareness of what will work now. Coaches move clients forward through goal setting and action planning, whereas a therapist would view their client in analysis. The best coaches don't advocate action for action's sake. Instead, they work to probe and explore the topics coming from their clients a little deeper or further. One of the best parts of coaching is partly represented in how efficiently coaches work to uncover the critical details and relevant parameters to better understand the client's issues. It's also reflected in how they work with clients to formulate action plans. Some clients can be impatient and they want change right away. Yet finding the key to facilitate effective change requires insight into the client's unique history and dynamics. Analysis is essential to good coaching. It is also a distortion to think of analysis as simply delving into a client's childhood experience as a therapist would do. Rather, it's about gaining appreciation of who your client is and what they desire. It also involves seeking sufficient knowledge of your client's history and the topics that are important to them, instead of a broad range of historical information that may be interesting to know but not really essential to moving your client forward. As the coach, you will definitely want to know more about your client and what they've tried in the past, and what their success formulas have been, who their greatest supports were, what strengths they have demonstrated over time, and why this particular goal that they're bringing to you is so important to them at this time. And if you're wondering how this is relevant to the type of coaching style that you might have or what you might do with a client, consider some of the regular issues that health and wellness coaches see from their clients, which might be to simply lose weight and eat better, or to get fit and feel healthy. Or your client may want to reduce their stress or to quit smoking, whereas others will be looking for help to stick to the directions or advice of their physician. Would you be able to begin working on any of these objectives with your client without asking a few pertinent or relevant questions? The critical skill here is knowing which questions to ask and whether the questions used are meeting your client's needs instead of your own. You are probably aware of role boundaries, and as a health and wellness coach, you should acknowledge your role in such a way that you avoid going too far into unknown areas with your questioning. And it's all right to have these unknowns, because even though your relevant knowledge may be limited to questions such as, what's your time frame for this change, or what's your target weight, this is still extremely valuable in terms of asking good questions. From a coaching perspective, there are two sets of necessary questions that would be appropriate for all client agendas. And the first has to do with meaning. And this means, for instance, what does losing weight mean to you? And the second has to do with importance, or the importance ruler, such as, what is it about this goal that matters to you so much right now at this moment in your life? Beyond these two basic questions, there are obviously others that an effective coach will need to ask before starting the task of action planning with your client, but this is definitely a great start. You might see then that it's pretty important to explore how just one change in someone can actually change everything, and everything in our world is connected. Though evidence concerning a mind-body connection really accumulated at a fast rate from the 1950s onward, mind-body medicine generally struggled to gain a foothold or be accepted within the medical world throughout the second half of the 20th century. Today, we might say that many more accept the relationship of mind-body and have come to describe health as the interaction of several dimensions of our client. What are the most relevant systemic relationships to consider when addressing coaching topics with your client? Beginning with the fact that our thoughts influence our emotions and vice versa, we also know that our thoughts and feelings influence our physical being, and conversely, the way that we relate to our bodies affects our mental and emotional health. Moving outside of ourselves, consider that how we are influences others. So if we happen to be in a great mood, evidence suggests and tells us that this influences the moods of those around us, and that shouldn't really surprise anyone to hear. Therefore, our personal realities influence our social realities. In the language of causality, our emotional, physical, mental, social, and behavioral experiences all influence one another. This theme speaks to an important consideration in effective coaching, which is working with the whole person. Since your coaching practice will be targeted to health and wellness matters, your clients are likely to seek you out for goals situated within this broad domain. They may show up with histories of unhealthy eating habits, relative inactivity, stress-fueled lifestyles, and warning signs that are related to early-stage medical concerns or chronic illness. By general standards and some definitions, they're probably going to be fairly successful in life with maybe even advanced degrees of education, significant business success, and some will even have well-functioning families. However, in the domain of health and wellness, they still find that they need your help. Now, not so long ago, the options available to this person would be, in the fitness world at least, related to a club membership, some class instructions, or maybe one-on-one personal training. In other health and wellness matters, they might have had to engage an expert who would have diagnosed them and given them a prescription or a program. But now, these potential clients can also hire a coach. The process of coaching clients with health and wellness goals may not be totally foreign to those who have worked for years with clients in one-on-one relationships with clients around issues related to their health and wellness. Let's deepen this discussion by understanding what it would mean to specialize in coaching related to wellness. Now, it's quite possible that clients can seek a professional coach with no background in health or fitness matters. They might already be doing the physical activity part of their lives just fine. But the public perception of coaching is still that coaches will help them to organize and motivate them to achieve a goal. So clients may not always perceive the critical relevance of this need for specialized knowledge. So, master health and wellness coaches might bring to their work not only academic and professional expertise, but also years of professional practice with clients pursuing similar goals. Health and wellness coaches may find that they help clients with a wide variety of agendas, such as managing stress, being more focused in their work efforts, developing a more disciplined way of living, becoming more attuned to others in their environment, and so forth. These alternate types of agendas may be seen as related to the client's lifestyles, yet it's likely that the ways used to improve these objectives could easily include somatic practices, health promotion, mindfulness techniques, and even spiritual development. So why would these clients choose a health and wellness coach for these types of agendas? There are at least two strong arguments. Health and wellness coaches would be well-trained individuals who adhere to professional guidelines for the practice of coaching, and they would presumably have amassed a wealth of knowledge related to the mind-body connection. To illustrate our second argument, let's look at stress, which is commonly viewed as a mind-body issue. Now, there's a reciprocal causality in stress whereby mental processes affect physical being and vice versa. Health and wellness coaches should be well versed in the ways in which exercise, eating, meditation, bodywork, and other factors can modulate stress responses. They will also appreciate how engagement in various somatic or health practices can influence personal awareness, sensitivity to others, the ability to be focused or disciplined, and even develop spiritual evolution. It has been estimated that people alive today in the Western world will live about 30 years longer, on average, than their predecessors at the beginning of the 20th century. The process of change and evolution is so widespread that most young adults who are currently entering the job market will most likely need to reinvent themselves several times before they're able to take their retirement. Now, concerns about health and wellness will no doubt become front and center as the number from this aging population increases and the consequences of poor and even moderate health practices become more pronounced. Therefore, the role of health and wellness coaches will also evolve in upcoming decades. But for now, we know that there is a lot of work to be done to motivate and support people or clients to be able to make essential lifestyle changes. We also recognize that there's a lot of literature related to the theories and practices concerning how professionals can promote change through dialogue and conversation. Now, the upcoming lessons will take you more deeply into the core dynamics of change and methods that are used by successful coaches. But right now, you're at the beginning of a journey, and it's hopefully exciting for you to see that this professional world that you are now considering will endure in the years to come.